Our discussion today is on the issue of leadership. We are just about to get new leaders in the Christian Union, but like I said on part one, first service I gave part one of this discussion, that all of us are leaders in one place or the other. There's nobody here who is not a leader. So although you may not be leading here, you are leading elsewhere. Why? Like I said during the first part, a leader is a person who goes ahead and people follow. When you relate like that between a leader and a follower has more power than the leader. Because you see, it's you to make a choice, whether to follow or not. So when you talk about leadership, it's how to be the kind of a person people trust so much they can follow them. So when you're talking about leadership, we are talking about influence. So we say that our discussion today is all about how to become a person who is influential. Because once you're influential, you can achieve projects. You can, for example, go to a village
and not the word. Because you can tell me please, but you mean must. I mean, you don't only say please, you actually mean please. And within no time, I want to deal with a person who doesn't force his way. The Bible is clear. Pride comes before a fall. The moment please is the opposite of being proud. Because I have a right to order you, but I will not. A lot of marriages go into trouble because there's something called entitlement. You can't tell please to something you're entitled. Because I'm your husband, you must make tea for me. Now, the wife of you used, isn't it? No wonder the tea will taste like oranges. Now, because she did not make it with love, she made it as compulsory. Are we together? But if your wife feels not used, please, that means even if there's no tea, I will not die. After all, cannot die. It's okay. If you are too busy, let's not have tea today. That freedom will make tea even before you ask. Am I communicating? And we're talking about leadership, isn't it? You must learn that lesson of valuing people, number one. Number two, show that you value them by not manipulating them or ordering them around. The other word we said it was please. The second one was? Okay, I don't know if you want us to do sorry or thank you. Let's do sorry first. We covered sorry during part 2. Sorry is a way of admitting you fail. The word sorry declares to people you are human. You know, some of the leaders like to imply like they are perfect. So even if when everyone can see they have done something wrong, they never admit. After all, I'm your leader. Leaders don't do anything wrong. The more you pretend to be what you are not, the less people respect you, and the less they'll be able to work with you. So when something is wrong, learn to say, I am, and mean it. How do you know you mean it? What do you do next? You can tell me sorry and repeat the same thing. I know you are not sorry. That's important to understand. Many relationships take off. With the guy that don't measure up, you ask yourself, that girl, how can she follow such an ugly guy? Is she blind? No. That guy knows how to say sorry. The size of your nose is okay, your ears are okay, but you don't know how to say sorry. You pretend you're perfect, everyone knows you are not perfect except yourself. Then you have a lot of difficulty. So if you are made the chairman of the LGG committee, and you are the one going for a team to do measures, you must learn, first of all, to say please. The next thing is to say sorry. You announce to people, we are meeting at 3 o'clock. Then you come at 3:30. And you know, in Kenya, leaders come late as a matter of fact. If you don't say sorry, everyone knows leaders don't say sorry. But when you start saying sorry, in other words, when I said 3, I meant 3. But this and this thing happened, please forgive me. They will forgive you, and relationship will improve. Okay, this subject is wide, but please understand, we're talking to you as a leader or as a person. Do you want to relate better with your mother? Would you like her pocket money to grow bigger? Learn to say those 3 words. Number 1, please mom, could I have pocket money? No, mom, what do you think I'm eating? You promised to send money in September, now we are in November. Surely, in Calatina, they don't sell free things. You need money. She will send you money, reduced. And by the time you go home, expect a lecture. Am I communicating? Who caused it? Yourself. But when your mother feels you do not take her for granted, you know you have no right to pocket money, and so when she gives you, and when you don't use the money for the thing you said you'd use it, you don't pretend you never did anything wrong. Next time you go say, Mom, I know you bought me that money for a phone, but I discovered there was a course that was being taught that required the same amount of money, and I used my money for the phone for this. I'm not asking for the money for a phone, But please understand. What about if you pretend you bought a phone and she can see throughout the holiday you have not used the phone? She knows you are a crook. Next time you ask for a money, she will be very reluctant to give you money. Why? Because you did not know how to use the word sorry. Are we together? Have you ever heard of misappropriation of funds? Have you heard people go to jail for misappropriation? Misappropriation is not stealing. Misappropriation is the vote said use money for road X, then use the road for road Y, and you go to jail for it. Because the vote was discussed and passed in parliament. So when you use it elsewhere, it's called misappropriation of funds. So if you use money in an area the giver never agreed with you, you must learn how to say sorry. And when you say sorry without them discovering, you say in advance, they start trusting you. Because you are not taking them for granted. That is true as a leader, true of you as a girlfriend, or true as you as a boyfriend, true of you as a teacher, true of you as a student. We are talking about leadership and relationship. And we are saying, if you really want to enjoy a good life for the rest of your life, please learn these lessons early and apply them. They are not easy to apply because the moment I tell you please, I feel like you are my boss. How can you be my boss? I'm your boss. How can I be please? So to say please requires me to deny myself. Am I communicating? To say sorry is even worse. How do I admit, as crude as you are better than me? Because by saying sorry, I'm implying I'm not good, isn't it? It's very difficult. That's why the word, I call it a royal word, because very few people are able to say these words and mean it. So sorry is a thing that helps you to, number one, admit you are not perfect. And because you have admitted you are not perfect, every time you do wrong, people find it easier to forgive you. When you pretend to be perfect, even when you are not done something wrong, they are willing to forgive you. Because they know you pretend to money. And I say my head, now you need to understand this is a serious issue. Because you're not discussing an academic subject. We are discussing even what will happen this afternoon. So you need to ask yourself, do you understand the value of owning up? Not passing the buck. Like I was saying, the second time is admitting you are not perfect, number one. Number two, admitting that the other person is so valuable, you should not have done what you did to them. The first thing is, you are not perfect, you are poor. Number two, you are so valuable, I'm unhappy that I hurt you. But sometimes when you hurt somebody who is not valuable, you don't feel like saying sorry, am I right? So by saying sorry, you are implying that person is very important. I don't want our relationship to go wrong, I value you. And thirdly, as you are actually saying sorry, you are promising you are going to change. So do not think I'll be always like this. Please, I promise you a better person in future. That's the meaning of the word sorry. And that's why relationship improve. The third word, royal word is thank you. Thank you means so busy. It's not that you are busy, it's that the things you are doing are more important than me. When somebody claims to be your friend and they are not available, the message, of course, you always say, oh, Brother Nganga, I'm so busy. Yeah, I get it. You are so busy with the things that matter. Nganga does not. I'm not communicating. The language of love is time. If your boyfriend is never available, please take the message. It doesn't have to be put on a loudspeaker. It's very clear. Very, very clear. You always have time for what matters to you. And it's important to ask yourself, and it's very interesting. Like, because I valued my mother and I've led a very busy life, both professionally and in ministry. But my wife was reminding me the other day, I would always find a way of going to Jabini. My village is called Jabini. I'm going to Nakuru, I find a way of going in. I remember when I was working in Kisumu, I've gone on duty in Mombasa, I fly to Nairobi, I don't fly onwards to Kisumu. I first of all go to Kinako. Because I valued my mother. The language of love is time. And it's very important to understand that. So if you want to create a good relationship with your team, don't just meet them for business. Also, meet them one-on-one. So after the executive meeting, ask one of them, can I take tea with you at 3 in 1? I'm hoping to repeat, even to know that they will come 3 in 1. At a your place. That's not you money, it's your money. You are taking them out. Because if it's you money, they will know you just wanted to take tea and wanted to use it as an excuse. So you need to show people matter to you by giving them time. And when they see you give time. In your busy schedule, you found 15 minutes for me. I know I matter to you. I want to follow you. Because there is nothing you can do against me. You think about me even as you think about the project. So I want to work with you. Anyway, let's see here. In 2 Samuel chapter 15, verse 7. After the end of 4 years, remember Absalom? The guy befriending people, do you remember Absalom? Absalom said to the king, let me go to Hebron and fulfill a vow I made to the Lord. Absalom wanted to take over the government, but he was not in a hurry. He spent 3 years at his grandfather's place. And when he returned to the land of his father, he spent 2 years creating a mindset within the people who that won him popularity. What are we saying? If you appreciate me, I will initially wonder what you are up to. But if you do it long enough, I will start believing you. But yet, the truth is, I may be fattening you for slaughter. Because the idea is you wanted to overturn the government, isn't it? But it sounds innocent. He's just befriending people, and it took time. If you appreciate me for a whole 2 years, I'll start believing you. And I'll start believing you have no wrong motive. And in the process, you will take my heart. By that year, you can do anything because by then, you have won my trust. If you meet on the first day and you try to win me over, I think there's something suspicious. That's why when you meet a guy and wants to marry you in 6 months, please be careful. Most likely, the village is full of his children. And he wants it to be quick enough for you to not discover you are becoming a mother of several children. Am I communicating? I normally tell people, if you marry somebody in less than 2 years, you are taking a huge risk. And because marriage takes forever, I've been married for 5 years, and we are still going on, God giving us time. You need to understand, you are going to such a long-term thing. This relationship is not like just we meet and go. If you meet him, you like him, he likes you, but he wants to marry you in 6 months, please know, most likely, there's something he's covering up. Just had yesterday, my wife was telling me about a girl that met a boy. They married a beautiful, big wedding, and they started running okay. After she had stayed long enough, and she had a child, another woman came with 3 children and was pregnant with the 4th. And says, I'm not interested in pocket money. I want to live with a man. Says, who are these? Oh, they're also mine. I'm polygamous. How come you never told me? Because the marriage broke. But she had no idea. She felt so foolish How could I stay from the time until now without knowing this guy is a liar? The only way of discovering is give yourself time. If a girl is saying, since you say you love me, how come you are not marrying me? Say 2 years. No, you don't love me. It's okay. If you're in a hurry, I'm suspicious. So if you really trust me, you'll wait as we are discussing. Am I communicating? It's exactly the same in creating relationship. With your people, do not come one day and say, we are having a rally in the stadium. What do you call the stadium here? What do you call it? What do you call the stadium in here? Rorego? Or some name like that. The chairman has said, when are we going? Next Sunday. I grow suspicious. This guy has been paid by the owners there. No wonder he wants us to have a rally there. Give people long enough to think, to counter-check, because you might discover the manager of the stadium is a cousin of the aunt of the brother of this guy. But when you do it in a hurry, he has no time to find out, isn't it? So do not do things in a hurry that do not have to be done in hurry. You know, for example, when you decide to announce a holiday in the evening for people not to turn up work tomorrow, even if you are doing it for a good reason, we become suspicious and you lose our trust. Even if it is totally innocent, but the hurry communicates something that will break up your trust. So when you are dealing with the people, come the first day and bring an idea. Give them time to think. Don't give somebody an idea and tell him to decide at the same time. It will deprime. Remember we are talking about things that show you value people and that are going to make people want to relate with you in the longer term. It's a very important thing. You know, the reason I'm talking about this is because a lot of people value popularity. After all, democracy is about popularity. Am I right? Are you aware that democracy is a very bad method of government? Why? It does not choose the best person. It chooses the most popular. Democracy has nothing to do with who is good. And that's why some people cheat themselves. When we become an MP, you think you are the best in the constituency. No, we are not saying the best. We are saying you are the most popular. And you can be popular as a crook. You can be popular as a good person. Popularity tells you absolutely nothing about the real person. Now, that's what's wrong with democracy. Another thing, and that's one of my topic today, another thing is that the person with the full information and the one without, the professor in political science and the grandmother who doesn't even know who we are voting for, only have one vote and they are equal in value. Am I right? So you can win because the grandmother never knew who you really are. Now, having said that, all I'm saying is, as leaders, we must not go for popularity. Three problems with popularity. Number one, once you become popular and you value it, you will start compromising so that you don't lose popularity. And in the compromise, the whole team will not end up with the vision you had at the beginning. Because you are tied up to, oh, if I say this, they might not elect me in 2027. So in the process, you don't achieve the things that you wanted. So popularity is not a good thing to go for as a leader. Number two, if you go for popularity, it not only is it driving you into compromise. Number two, it means you start doing the things that bring popularity rather than the things that helps you to meet the objective. Am I communicating? Because you can't help it. You are so, and more popularity, you keep creating it. Thirdly, when popularity guides you, finally people will discover performance is low. And popularity cannot cover lack of performance. And so your leadership will end up with a problem. If you had performance, even if you have no popularity, after some time, they will elect you, saying, kazi iendelee. You're not old enough to know there was a popular saying that used to be, kazi iendelee. And they expect to be elected on the basis of performance. And I think it's important. If popularity is a gimmick to conceal poor performance, the leader's weakness may be covered for a while, but finally it will become exposed. Popularity can blind the team to wrong decisions being made by the leader, but eventually it will lead you to a crisis. Every leader should seek to be accepted and trusted by his team, but this should not be something that's a must. This should be a means to achieve the goals of the team, not an end in itself. And I think it will be very, very important that you deal with that as an issue. Next, check what you hear even during a crisis. I'm now talking about a leader during going through a crisis, leading people through a crisis. Leaders' personal problems are not the group's problems. You may be going through a personal problem, but please don't make it a public problem. Unfortunately, our African culture, that's what happens. You get sick, and your aunt doesn't visit you in the hospital, and you have a quarrel with her. When I was sick, you never came? See me. You know that's our culture, isn't it? Yeah, you have no school fees. Look, my uncle never gave anything. You are not their daughter, are you? So, but you are making it look like your problem is a public problem. Your problem, okay, your parents are involved, but others are not part of the problem. Are we together? Who really must care for your problems? You are God. Because even your parents are not the one who brought you here. God brought you here. Learn to make your problems God's problem, but because it's not very African. Let me say. For sympathy. You know, my wife annoyed me this morning. What has that to do with the meeting and the committee? Oh, you know, there was that lecturer and he was very rude to me. What has got to do with the reason you came together? If somebody else does it, the leader must be willing to listen. That's the way you show value. But the leader himself should not make his personal problems public issue. He should be like public leaders. He was a messenger from the church from Philippi, and he went to Rome, and unfortunately he got sick. And he wanted it to be top secret. But some people discovered and told his church. And that time he's almost dying. Paul is saying that guy was so distressed that you heard he was sick. His sickness was between him and God. He did not want people to get involved. My friend, I know somebody who came for interview when I was still manager in Shell. And it's a guy I had met in campus. So it's somebody I met preaching, like one of you now comes, I'm now retired, comes and is in the interview. Then when he came for the interview, he started telling us, you know, my father died, I have suffered. Nobody's asking the questions. He has formed an opinion that the way to get a job is to look for sympathy. So he started, every time he asks a question, the answer goes to how unfortunate his life is. When he finished, the other managers in the team said, we can't employ someone like that. He will destroy the company. Because he'll be begging for money. Are we together? Then I said, I want to own up. I know the young man. I don't know why he did like that. I've dealt with him in the Christian Union. He was not like that. He just thought that there's a way of manipulating the team by asking for sympathy. Took a bit of time for me to convince the rest of the panel. Let's ignore that and look at the performance in the interview in other areas. And on the basis of that performance, he was top. So he finally got a job and joined Shell. But I have never forgotten that. If you want to do anything, let your problem be personal. Are we together? And all other people should know on need basis. Are we together? Don't make it public. When you make it public, as a leader, people want to avoid you. I still remember when we were in Kisumu, I was the first chairman of the Focus branch in Kisumu, and we had somebody come into our Bible study. Every time we came, we were talking about the husband. Next Sunday, some people stopped coming to the Bible study. Because they knew the next one, now they will be told where he went. And who has become his dogo. Now, and remember, he doesn't know much about us. We have come from different places. We are just in the Bible study. And it almost destroyed the Bible study. So you need to understand your problems are important. You must share with the people who will pray with you, a close-knit group, but don't bring up to the leadership. Are we together? Because when you do so, it will affect your leadership negatively. And it's important to ask yourself, I agree what I'm talking about is against our culture. But we are talking as Christian leaders, isn't it? And that is important. So do not always think your personal problem have to become a harambe for everybody to get involved. There is a God in heaven who hears prayers. And he can actually touch somebody, and we just see somebody give you 100,000. He has no idea, but the Lord has told him to give you money. It's different from begging. Are we together? So, and if you beg, please avoid leadership positions. Because people feel manipulated. By the way, I dealt with that recently. I recommended somebody to a group of young people who wanted a meeting. Then he spoke. After he spoke, one of the young people wrote to him to say, by the way, I'm having this project. They have no idea who the person is. He just, and by the way, he spoke online. So they have never met. So the guy forwarded the message to me. He says, what kind of young people did you send me to? I didn't know how to. I was so embarrassed. Because the person has already helped you with the content he delivered. How did he that? Don't you have any friends? If you have needs, don't give them to strangers. Don't wash your dirty linen in public. Are we together? Please have close friends that are so close. Your personal problems will be shared with them. Are we together? They will pray with you. They will seek God with you. And God is a provider and will provide. Don't make yourself a perennial beggar. Are we together? It will affect you. And remember, it's all about you, how you relate with others. A lot of people will keep off because they do not want to, they don't know how to deal with you when that is the kind of person you are actually dealing with. So, think more about the good of the group than of your personal pride at stake, especially when the group is going through crisis. Don't ask, what is in it for me? Do not involve those not needed in the conflict resolution. Jerusalem could have been destroyed were it not for the wisdom of David. Aim at resolving the issue for the good of the mission, even if the leader becomes the loser. Let me give you a little details. Absalom has finally gotten a team and an army to remove the father. And they are on their way coming to Jerusalem to conquer Jerusalem and remove the father. Now, David was also a fighter of more years than the son. But he gathered his army also. But he told them, we will not stay in Jerusalem. If we stay in Jerusalem, Jerusalem will suffer. It will be destroyed. Let's move to the open field. If we die there. People say, no, stay in Jerusalem. I say, no. I care about the mission. It was the same thing Solomon used. When two ladies were fighting over a baby, he told them, come, this baby, let's cut it in two. Did the owner agree? Did the real mother agree? No. The way people get to know you really own the project you are leading is the fact that you do not want the baby to be cut in two. Sometimes there's a conflict in a church. What do? You want to divide the church into two. Now, if you really care about the church, you will move and start a new one. Because you don't want the church to be divided into two. So it's important to understand, if you're a leader, people want to find out, do you actually care about the objectives of the team? Do you care about the visions of the team? David, the king of all Israel, cared so much about the capital, Jerusalem, that he was willing to run away. Kind of looked like he's running away from Jerusalem. Did he win the throne? Do you know the story? Did he win the throne? Yes. Absalom died in the fight in the forest. So it's important to understand, if you become the kind of a person who is careful to commit to the project, then be assured of God's presence with you. So we are talking about the way you relate. Now you are showing you value people, but you're also showing you are committed to the project. You know, there are people who, every time there's a problem, I'm resigning from this committee. Why? You are rude to me. Now, are you that important compared with the work the committee is doing? Are we together? Have good advisors. I was talking during the break. I was talking to somebody about one of my best examples is somebody called William Wilberforce. If you get a biography by William Wilberforce, please, he was influential worldwide, not just a small area. He is the one who was able to get the world to stop what? Wilberforce stopped what? You didn't do your history. Slave trade. And so it's not a small matter. I've run out of time. But please understand, that guy was so committed to the project. He repeated it for 60 years, I think 40 years in Parliament. You do it, they throw it out, they throw it out. But the reason Wilberforce was like that is because he had a small group of prayer partners that kept him to the task. A lot of our politicians, the moment they get elected, they leave the church, they leave the Christian brethren. No wonder they backslide so easily. Are we together? If you really want to go on serving the Lord, you must get a clique of people that are no-nonsense commitment to God. Because if they themselves are backsliding, they will help you to backslide. Go with the people who make you uncomfortable because of their commitment to the things of God. Let them become your advisors as a leader. And you would see when you want to throw your temper tantrums, they will easily tell you you are being childish. That problem you are talking about is not as big. Go back and lead the people the way you should. Do you have advisors like that? Whom you have given the right of interference? They can tell you that dress will send you to hell. Now, and yet you have been shouting, my dress, my choice. But you need a few people who can tell you that dress is a good vehicle going to hell. That you need those people. A lot of you don't have people that can interfere and they don't seek permission to interfere. They simply interfere. What you are saying is nonsense. Do you have people like that? They trust your relationship so strongly, they know even after 10 years nonsense, you get angry for a while, but you'll be back. That's how strong a relationship is. You need them. When you hear people that are becoming great leaders, it's because they have somebody. He may not be necessarily their deputy, but they have somebody who can tell them what you are doing is. You miss those people, it's a problem. But one of the candidates is your wife. Because your wife is interested in you. You go down, the family goes down, isn't it? So you need to have somebody who can tell you what you are doing is wrong. And David had good advisors like Nathan. Are we together? And they had access to the state house. Do you have people like that? If you truly want to be a great leader, you must keep next to yourself people who don't kind of encourage your ego. They want you to be a good man, and they will tell you the truth, irrespective of whether they are risking your friendship dying. They care for you more than friendship. You know the trouble when you become a leader, we happen to be associated with you, isn't it? And we also don't want to be dropped. So we therefore can't tell you the truth in case you drop us. Those kind of people, the earlier you drop them, the better. Look for people who do not have an ego to look after. They are ready to lose you rather than fail to guide you in the things of God. Let us pray. Lord Jesus, all these things are good to hear, but difficult to practice. I'm praying that for those of us who are here and can sense our relationships at home, in school, in other areas are suffering because of areas we have mentioned. We are not performing well. We want to admit we need your help.